Hello, my darlings. I'm here on the Isle of Skye in Scotland. It's just epic. And because you've asked about doing a little bit more on ancestors because of the first video, I'm doing it, okay? And I thought that it would be perfect in no other place than this because I have found out that about over 30% of my ancestors are from Scotland, so it's quite appropriate. So we're just going to be playing with that idea today. So prerequisite, go watch the first video so that you can have an understanding of what's going on with the whole ancestors idea. But as I elaborate on it, one of the things that I really want to be clear about is that you don't have to go digging up in old graves and old bones that don't need to be dug up. That's really important to note because a little bit it happens in the spiritual community, whether it's with aliens or whether it's with ancestors or just the shadow. We can just keep on digging up graves and there will always be things to go find, and sometimes it's unnecessary. So the first and foremost thing that I want to talk about is, when is it necessary to go explore your ancestry? Well, if there's something going on in your present life. So the idea is to get really present, to get into a very meditative and knowing state, often in your daily lives, so that you can begin to understand yourself, so you can begin to hear your thoughts, so that you can also be aware of patterns that come up in your life, where you're like, whoa, this relationship thing keeps on coming up with every person, or this money thing, or whatever it is, this energy, this emotion in me, where's this coming from? And we don't always have to ask that question of where is it coming from, but if it keeps on coming up and it's something that you keep on witnessing in yourself, then it's something to be explored. So a lot of our shit and a lot of our gifts come from our ancestors. So one of the places to trace back and to go, did it come from my ancestors? That would be a good place to look. So first and foremost, really be clear on if you need to go digging around. Next thing is, there's a lot of gifts. There's a lot of uniqueness. And that's what I want to talk about in the exercises that I'm going to share with you today is, of anything, yes, it's to clear out the clogged pipes in the line of light back to our tribal souls. And it's really about reclaiming, remembering our unique and magical essences that come from our tribal souls. And those tribal souls go all the way back to the stars, go all the way back to the heavens, which go all the way back to the one. So ultimately, this is not to cause more separation, because that's another thing that can happen too, is it's this identity and nationalistic perspective, which nationalism, if any of us know our history, is what led to World War I. So we don't want to get too be like, I'm from this country and really identify with it. We're actually losing identification because the whole purpose of this is about going back to the one. So we're just reclaiming these certain frequency streams that created us. And once we reclaim these different frequency streams, we have more of us that can become more of the one. Now, I'll go into this in other videos. You can just go straight to the one. A little bit harder for some of us. So the idea is just to brighten these different streams of light, to remember our uniqueness. As far as going into the nitty-gritty of the details of what happened to your ancestors, not super necessary, to go do the genealogy. A lot of the genealogy, even DNA tests, are inaccurate. So going in that direction, you can go to a certain degree, and that's helpful. For such instance as my ancestors who were Irish, they came over to America before the potato famine. So they didn't experience as a collective. Their mini collective of the Irish broke off before that happened. So that trauma, that energy isn't in, for instance, my ancestors. So there's some kind of stories that you can be like, oh, okay, I don't need to go look at that or what was going on with that. But in some ways, there is something really fruitful about exploring that. And for instance, for me, and especially for you in America, and honestly in Australia, anywhere around the world, there is such profound strength in what made you who you are today because of what those before you did. And in a way, that is very inspiring. Should be very inspiring to us now, because it's like, okay, wow, my ancestors did that. Wow, maybe I have the ability to really create change in my life for my future children and future generations. That it was like, we are those ancestors that changed the world. So kind of digging back into the bones of the robust nature of our ancestors has a reverberation that can waken our bones to amass change. What do I mean by that? Well, for instance, like some of my ancestors, they came over from Scotland, England, Ireland, Germany in the early 19th century, because they were converted in whatever way to Mormonism. So they went straight from here to Utah, uncharted territory. They were the first pioneers that went like across America and faced all kinds of things to do that. And one, for faith, for that inner knowingness and something to propel you forward. There has to be something pretty big to push you to go that far away from home and into new territory with your family, with your children. And so there's something about that then inspires me and goes, well, if they can do that, which in their day, the physicalization of going across is really intense and really powerful. But for me, maybe it's more of that spiritual aspect of going across and cultivating like a deep inner resilience, a deep inner change to explore unknown territories. And it can also be the physicalization of truly changing the world too. So it's looking at the story as a sense of inspiration and a sense of passion and power that lives within you. I think that's extremely powerful. And we all have those stories. Every culture, every walk of life, no matter where you come from, you have a story of resilience. It isn't a story of survival, and that's really important to know. It's a story of transformation. So looking at it is something very empowering to take in, to own within yourself can be amazingly powerful and beautiful. Another thing, based on the exercises from the constellation work that I've talked about in the other video, is to step on the energy through the pieces of paper, go reference, into the tribal souls of the particular lineages that you come from. And there could be some unknown lineages. With most people I talk to, there's some interesting things that happen that you might have different ones than you think. So that would mean for instance, me, I'm using this as an example, but this is for everyone of every continent, of every culture, to step on the flavor, to embody the flavor, the uniqueness, the essence of whatever that lineage, that tribal soul, that mythic energy of your culture is. So that would be to really step on and embody, say, for me, the Scottish energy, to do it with the Irish energy, to do it with the English energy, to do it with the Native American energy. So all these different energies, so that you can begin to feel the frequency streams coming back through. And that is the unique flavor, part of the unique flavor that makes up your delicious ice cream cone flavor. And so what is that? What does that feel like? What does that look like? And when you do this, it can be extremely, extraordinarily beautiful. Or it can be sometimes dark and black, because there's things that need to be explored or cleaned up there for that pure frequency stream to run through. So that's something that you can note. for me, when I did it, and you do it blindly usually, you write it on the different pieces of paper, and then again you crinkle them up so that you don't know which one's which, and you do it blindly so that you can truly feel what that looks like. For me, when I did it, and I stood on Scotland, and this was probably like 7 years ago, it was just black. It was just like, ugh. Like, ooh, I don't know that I ever want to experience that. But there was something there, and so I've explored it. I've gone into it, and for me, this land, this culture is so vast and so wild, and there's something really strong and rugged about it that is a beautiful counterpart to some of like my Irish or my Native American energy in different ways. And so it's like these different energies, because we are such mishmashes in so many ways. We're coming together as one. Like, it's so many cultures that exist in us, that they're beautiful counterbalances to make this particular rainbow essence within us. So just explore that, feel what that feels like, and it's going to be amazing. So that is my ancestral download for today. You've got some good new insights, some new perspectives, some new ways of looking at it. And there's a lot to explore. And if it's something that's not up for you, don't worry about it. But it might come up later. Who knows? Either way, revisiting the places of your ancestors, revisiting the energy, there's a power in it. And there's something that can propel you and give you extra support from behind to push you on to the next leg of your journey from theirs, because we're all connected and through time, and it's powerful. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, and I'll be coming out with lots more videos. So stay tuned. If you like, subscribe, and go check out those other videos as reference. All right, talk to you soon.